Hey everyone, this is Shockwave Pulsar from the Tomb Raider forum boards. Today I'm just going to be showing you guys the Rise of the Tomb Raider Play Arts Kai figure. Uh, as you can see here, it is in all its glory. Sorry about the video quality and the lighting. I'm having to do this with my cell phone and a Luxo kind of lamp on my roommate's desk. Uh, I hope it's decent enough. It doesn't look too bad on my end, so hopefully it'll be okay. Uh, Here's the box. This is the front, as you can see, the artwork that they have for the figure. I got the Japanese edition of it, as you can see. It kind of focuses, yeah, right down there. Um, Turn the box around. You can see the back. It has all the writing. I'm pretty sure they'll do a US edition. It'll probably be available only on the Square Enix main site, more than likely. If not, it may just be the same box, but I'm not sure. Anyways, here's the back. You can see. I kind of took a look at it, opening the front of it just to look at it, and right now I can say I'm pretty much very pleased with how it came out. Her face, I don't know how well you can see it. It looks pretty much exactly like the Turning Point trailer version, or the opening of the reboot. You can kind of get a good look at it there. Honestly, it's extremely well done. It looks better than here's the original Play Arts Kai for reboot of Lara with some of her items, and you can already tell right away the scale difference. She's a little bit higher in the box, but yeah, right away you can see a huge difference. These are all her accessories. She comes with, let's see, 5 extra hands minus the 2 relaxed hands that she has. Her bow, her 2 pickaxes right there. Let's see. This is the inside blurb about Rise of the Tomb Raider and their version of the figure. Leave it there for a second so you can kind of read it. You may have to pause it. Move down. Let's see. Kind of both in the shot. All right, so now I'm just going to go ahead and take her out the box and get a better look at her. All right, hey everyone, so I got her out of the box, and as you can see, she looks extremely nice. Let me zoom in on her face. Zoom down a bit so you can get a better look at her. Her boots. Up. Turn her around. There we go. All right, I really like the detail they put into it. They have the weathering on the shoes. They sculpted the buckles that are normally on these boots. I think the joints are pretty well hidden. I know a lot of people complain about the knee joints, but I think hers look pretty nice. I know the back, they usually look a mess, especially if a character, kind of like Tifa, has their legs exposed. It kind of ruins the look of the figure. In her case, I got over it because she looks, I think, pretty cool. With Lara, I think it works just because the way her pants are designed. You have all the creases and the folds that kind of just really hide how the joints look, and that's pretty much all over the whole figure. Several things I've noticed. They have things like the necklace is sculpted to the bottom part of her neck. I thought that was a nice touch. They could have just not even did it since it was hidden by the scarf that she wears in the game. Another interesting thing about her is she has the earrings that were present in the first game that are no longer on this current model in Rise. They have the one that's on the left ear, and then they have the two that are on the right ear. So that's how I can kind of figure they base this version of Lara from Rise off of the CG model from the opening cutscene to the reboot of Tomb Raider. Looking at the rest of the figure, I'll start with the accessories. As you can see here, she comes with several weapons. Obviously, her bow. This time, they actually strung the bow, so you can actually pull it back and use it and get more dynamic poses than the original bow, which came with the first figure, where there was a wire that was used. I don't know why they thought that would be a good idea, considering you couldn't get any really type of pose with it. And then I know with a lot of people's, the metal wire, or whatever it is, would pop off. I had to kind of glue mine down just so it would stay. Really makes posing difficult. I normally just have her in a default stance kind of pose with the bow string not being drawn. Okay, one thing about the bow that I'd like to point out is on the figure, there is a hole right there. I originally thought from the production images that was used kind of like an aiming device for Lara on the figure. I thought it was like a weird design choice that they had for the bow. But actually, that's just where the bow sits and rests when you're not using it on her. Basically, let's see if I can do this with... Yeah, just to kind of show it. Yeah, that's how it kind of sits in. And then the bowstring comes across the front like that. Obviously, you do a little more posing with it and not have her arm caught up in it. But I thought that was a nice way to keep the bow without it constantly sliding down. Not that it had that problem anyway. The bowstring's relatively tight. And I think it looks really great. But I'm glad they added that little feature there. Just so if you don't want her to hold the bow and want her to maybe hold the knife or her guns or both her pickaxes, that it's a great way to keep it on there for the figure. Back to the accessories. She comes with a group of arrows, which are shorter than the arrow that she's supposed to use when she's drawing the bow, mainly just so that it fits right there in the quiver that's on her back. Really, the only important part that will be seen is this, so it's not a big deal. The hand that comes with the bow is attached, so it won't fall off, and the hands are easily replaceable. You just pop them off. They just slide right off. It's a thing that PlayArts has gotten better with. They used to be really difficult to kind of pull out of the socket. Now they just slide right out, but they hold on snug. We have her revolver, which is the first gun she gets while in Siberia. It's about, I wouldn't say a quarter into the game, probably a little before that. This hand right here, I assume, is for both the handgun and for drawing the bow. Or not drawing the bow, but holding onto the bow. But I guess you could really use any hand for that. Although this hand right here is, from what I can see, designed to be used with the knife, kind of holding on like that. One thing about the hands is a lot of them have the dirt and grit. You can see in this one especially, she's got dirt under her nails and everything, and I thought that was a really nice touch. Going on to her two pickaxes or ice axes. She has her two hands that come with those. Both ice axes are sculpted differently. There is a right and a left. You can kind of see right there the difference in how they're sculpted. You have the piece right there that goes, and then the same on this one. And both of those fit relatively easily into the hands. You can see the gap's wide enough that it's snug to hold. All right, let's see. Back to the actual figure. I really can't get over how nice her face is. The only complaints I could really say about the figure overall is she has no toe joints, which you see in several Play Arts Kai figures now. There's clouds. Tifa has a not so much. She has a swivel on the toe. Both Captain America as well as Harley Quinn have toe joints so that you can get a kind of look like this back here. But she's not the only one. They do it for a couple of figures, like Hatsune Miku in the background. She doesn't have a toe joint. I think the Joker variant in the background, he doesn't have it either. I guess they just go and design it based on how they think the figure would be posed. And I guess they decided she wouldn't need it. I mean, it's not a big deal. She still has forward and backwards rotation as well as side to side, so it's not terrible. The only other problem that I have with her is how her ponytail is designed, which, as you can see right here, it sticks out a little bit too far for me. I feel like the ponytail probably should have been on a swivel joint, kind of like how the original was, just to make it look nicer. The way it's supposed to function is you're supposed to be able to rotate the joint up and have it stick out, but it ends up looking awkward with that ball right there on the end of where the ponytail cording is. The ponytail is removable. You can just pop that right off. It kind of just makes posing that orbital joint easier. The way it's supposed to work is you can move it up, down, back up. You can rotate the whole joint, so you can do side to side motions. The problem is the joint just seems a little too small, and sometimes you feel like you may just snap it off, especially when you take it out of the box. I would suggest being very careful with it. Mine was extremely stiff. I had to run it under hot water for a little bit just to kind of soften it, so I can get that initial joint movement going. It just, the way it goes on, that giant ball joint just sticks out too far for my liking, and it makes the hole where the hair attaches just, it looks awkward. I really think they could have done something better. Let me just put that back on. All right, there we go. Yeah, that's kind of how it's supposed to go for as far as it goes upward. Then when you rotate it, it goes back down like that. The ball joint just looks really awkward on the figure. But I can see why they wanted to use this type of joint, just to try and get a more dynamic movement with the hair. If anything, maybe they could have just sculpted the hair a little more wispy, have a little pieces maybe going off just to kind of give that wind-blown look that's kind of present in the Harley Quinn figure or Tifa's hair right here. It doesn't break the figure for me, though. It still, overall, is a really, really great figure. I know one of the problems a lot of people have with it is pricing. I was able to get her for about 108, not including shipping. I paid for rushed shipping, so I got her relatively quick, at a little bit of a premium, but I was okay because it was still well under the $139.99 that's being set as the MSRP for her, which is a little funny considering the PlayArts Kai Cloud was set at 120, and he came with all his sword pieces, including the all the pieces right there. It seems like compared to him, the price doesn't quite match. But if you can get her for under 120, I'd highly suggest it. I think once people realize how nice the figure is, she's going to go relatively quick, which then means pricing will only go up. All right, so I just wanted to do one last shot of her, just with all of her gear and everything on her, just so you can kind of see how you can kind of pose her with everything, using the hands provided to do the pose with the bow, show off how the string kind of works. Also showing off how the gun sits in the holster, how the knife sits in the sheath, as well as the quivers and arrows right there on her back. One of the other things I could show would be kind of how her axes sit on her belt, which is there's little pegs underneath her coat, two of them that you place the holes that are on the end of each axe. They just kind of slide right on and they just sit there nicely. All right. If there again is any questions or any comments, just write them down below and let me know. This was my first kind of review video, so don't judge me too harshly. Hopefully, I could do some more of these in the future if anybody would like to see more. Maybe I could focus on some of the other kind of figures that I have, as well as new ones in the future that I hope to get. I had fun making this. Hope you guys enjoy, and thanks a lot.